Thanks for listening to our podcast, unMetered. As a member-owned, not-for-profit electric cooperative, our focus is on providing affordable, reliable, safe electricity and outstanding member service. One way that we're doing that is by providing more avenues of communication to you, our member. Through the podcast, we hope that you will be able to find some helpful hints, tips, and things to help you conserve energy, as well as some informational pieces that will help you understand what it means to be a member. Welcome to another episode of unMetered. Extremely excited to have everyone here, of course. We are talking this week, or continuing to talk about energy efficiency and safety this holiday season.
That's right. That's right. First of all, award-winning. I'm going to start charging you.
That's award-winning
unMetered.
We need to add that to the intro.
We do. I mean, and again, you forgot the trophy, so imagine.
At this point, you're just going to have to. I do see that instead of grabbing a trophy, you did grab a new guest for us.
That is Sonny the Solar Gnome.
Sonny the Solar Gnome.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yes, we're not outside, but he dances when you shine light on him. So he is going to sit there and dance. You know, last year we had the Dancing Santa.
Yeah,
so Sonny decided to join us. He may be a regular occurrence. I don't know.
He looks like Santa's kind of younger cousin.
Yeah, he is. He's from Florida.
Makes sense. Well, so Sonny actually came to us because we recently had our department
our
Christmas party,
yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. There,
which would explain why
we are wearing these fantastic. Mine's not really a sweater, but
he's got the
sweater design.
Yeah, and I got the ugly sweater with the ugly jacket. However, neither of us won the ugly sweater contest.
And oddly enough, Josh's ugly sweater and jacket both have been getting more compliments than negative reactions,
which is crazy. So that's okay though. You know, it's all right. So actually, speaking of compliments and not negative reactions, sharing change.
That's a fact. Sharing change is one of those things that is fantastic. We're consistently getting people talking about Sharing Change, organizations that have been signing up for it. Sharing Change is a nonprofit that that is part of Middle Tennessee Electric.
That's right.
That many of the members contribute money to.
That's right.
By rounding up their bill each month or adding a little bit more through Sharing Change Plus. But all of our members have been able to sign up either by calling us at 877-777-9020.
Yep.
They've also been able to sign up by going to sharingchange.org, or if they've got a paper bill, they can actually, when they pay their bill on the bottom right-hand corner,
that's right,
they can sign up for it there.
And, you know, we're starting to get a lot of sign-ups because people are starting to realize that that's actually there, and it's a real easy way to do it. Round your bill off, and it makes it real simple. But, you know, it's tough, man, with the weather outside. You know, our next housekeeping item, you know, it's tough to talk outages because, well, today, you know, I mean, it's been sunny and, you know, but storms are out there.
Sunny.
The gnome.
I mean, and outages occur not just on storm days.
That's right.
They occur anytime.
That's
For instance, car accidents or occasionally wind gusts.
Animals
is another big issue that we run into. And of course, you can report that through the MyMTMC app,
which is awesome. I mean, it's easy to do. Click a couple buttons, you're there. You can also call our outage line 877-777-9111. We'll go ahead and take your outage. But no matter what, if you're out, call us. Report it somehow. I mean, just report it, because if you don't report it, there's no telling if anybody else has. So just go ahead and do it. It's easy.
It's very easy. And one of the things, just as a reminder, you can actually manage your notifications through MyMTMC. Yes. The email notifications that come to you, also push notifications that come inside the app. They don't necessarily come onto the home screen of your phone, but they come in the app. But if you're wanting to update your notifications, you actually need to do that by going to the MyMTMC web portal, which is at mtmc.com/MyMTMC, or on our homepage. Either way, you can log in, update those notifications. You can either turn them on or turn them off. But again, it's an easy way to get those.
That's something we haven't talked about in a while. Yeah, so I'm glad you remembered that, because we haven't talked about it, and people want to know how to manage their stuff. So that's good.
Well, and speaking of managing stuff and things we've not talked about in a while, let's talk a little bit about holiday energy efficiency.
It's been like a week since we've talked about that.
But we've not.
It's been a long time.
We've not talked about everything else.
That's true.
We always talk about lighting because again, electricity. One of the first things people think of is lights.
That's right.
But there's more to that.
Well, yeah. I mean, your HVAC. I mean, that is that's a huge piece of your electric bill. You don't think about your HVAC until your heat kicks on. I know that when it gets cold out and it's been, below freezing or whatever over the nights, I'll wake up at 2:00 in the morning and I'll hear my AC run or my heater running. And I'm thinking, my goodness, that's just probably been running all night. But, I'm warm. It's okay. So, but, as the holidays, as we get into the holidays and folks start having people over, one thing oftentimes people forget to do is adjust their thermostat. When people are in a room, it gets warm. And the more people you have, the warmer it's going to get.
Well, and I think also the other piece of that, I mean, we've had our energy service coordinators come in here, and they've talked about HVAC settings for summertime,
right?
Setting that at above 70, above 72, more like 75,
right.
Or even if you can stand it, 78 degrees, which I think is crazy.
What am I, a machine? I'm not going to do that.
It's some people are very warm natured.
I can't do that.
Like our boss,
yes,
VP of Communications and Member Services, Robert White, is a very big proponent of.
It's like 90 degrees. He doesn't even turn the AC on.
Not even close.
He's still got a blanket and a beanie.
And so some people are just naturally warm.
That's right.
And for me, I'm more on the side of I like to keep my house cold. So for me, during the winter is fantastic because now I leave I turn the heat on, but I leave the thermostat set at about 65.
Yep.
All the time, and so all of a sudden now my HVAC becomes a whole lot more efficient.
That's right. Well, and of course I have kids, and so I would love to leave it at 65, but I get tired of hearing the hollering about how cold it is. So I'm generous. I give them 68, usually 67, but 68. I mean, that's,
Well, and what's interesting is that with your HVAC system, oftentimes that accounts for almost half of your energy usage every month.
Right.
Consistently. It's it fluctuates obviously, and depending on how old your system is, there's all sorts of factors. But what's interesting is that for every degree above 68, you are essentially using about 2 to 3% more energy than what you were if you were keeping it below 68.
See, I think you're throwing these numbers out at me because last week I did math and I doubled a really easy number. I'm not figuring that out. I'm not going above 68 because it's just, I'm not doing it.
Well, but that's the thing though, is that as you turn your heat up,
right? No,
you go to 69. You go to 69. You're spending 2 to 3% more energy than you were when you were at 68.
It makes complete sense. I get it.
I never realized that until I was doing some research in preparation for today's podcast. And so, to me, that makes it even more of a thing of, hey, don't turn up my heat. Instead, put on, extra sweatpants or sweatshirts or blankets.
That's how I am.
My dog always loves to come and sit on me. It's a natural heat warmer there.
That's so true.
She's 70 pounds, so she's not a small heat warmer, but she thinks she is. But the other thing that's great about the HVAC system, when you turn it down, you're doing a lot of cooking. If you're cooking a lot of things, I know for me that, oftentimes I'll have the heat running, but then I'll get hot and I'll open the window.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any
same
sense.
Thing. Yeah,
it doesn't, instead use the heat that's coming off the oven.
That's right.
I wouldn't leave the oven open.
Well, and that's it's good that you say that because one of the safety things that we say is don't use your oven to heat your house.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just that it's not smart. You lay down, you fall asleep. I mean, start a fire, all kinds of crazy stuff. So don't use your oven to heat your house.
Well, but at the same time, if you're cooking something and
Absolutely.
It's already on, it's already moving, turn your heat down just a little bit. Drop it down to 66. Because if you're in the kitchen working and you're getting hot, it's probably because you're pumping too much heat into the house.
That's right. I mean, one area whenever we get into the colder weather, one of the things that we hear a lot about, especially when folks start getting, their bills start coming out, they're maybe a little bit higher, a little bit more elevated than what they're used to. We run through the questions. Well, what do you keep your thermostat at? Well, I keep my thermostat at 65. I mean, no one touches it. I have it under lock and key. Do you have a new refrigerator? Yeah, my refrigerator's brand new. I don't have a chest freezer or anything. Well, do you have anything plugged in? All I have is 3 space heaters. Whoa. Right there. I mean, space heaters are a huge, they warm your house up. I get it. They warm individual rooms quickly, but man, they suck some energy.
Well, and not just that they suck on some energy. I mean, there are certain uses for space heaters.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's two different kinds. You've got radiant and convectional.
Right.
And so what ends up happening there is radiants are fantastic for warming people up.
Right.
Because they're kind of pushing some air out there. They don't really heat your room though.
Right.
And so it's kind of like a fan. Like a fan makes you feel cooler even though it doesn't cool down the air.
Mm-hmm.
And a radiant heater is a very similar situation. But with a convectional space heater, what it's doing is actually pushing hot air out, and it's kind of sucking in that cold air.
Right.
And so as the hot air rises, the cold air goes down and gets heated up, and so it kind of creates like a convection oven or those types of things. But those are great for zones. So for instance, if you live in a large house, maybe one that has zone controls, so you could actually be able to turn on the heat in certain areas of the house and leave other ones closed off.
Right.
Space heaters might make sense because you don't need the entire house heated. But again, either way, when you leave that area, you want to turn the space heater back off.
Yep.
Because
well, and that's just it. Sometimes some of our members are out in maybe a little bit more rural areas, and they have a pump house, and they'll throw a space heater out there. That if you leave that thing running, it is going to take some serious energy, and just expect a high bill. I mean, truly, it's not that we're charging more for space heaters or anything like that. It's just that they pull a lot of electricity.
Right, exactly. And whereas your HVAC system is built to be more efficient.
That's right.
For instance, for every as I was reading through some of this stuff, it was talking about how efficient things are. So if it pulls 1 watt of energy, how much energy does it use to create the heat?
Right.
Where your HVAC system is probably at 200 or 300% efficient, which the space heaters are like a 1-to-1.
Right.
So again, and there's some things like there's some gas, for instance, if you have like a propane heater, those are like 1 to half of the power, of what it's converting.
Right.
Obviously, it's using fuel and a bunch of other things. But yeah, so space heaters are not overly effective, especially if you're trying to warm your home. But if you're trying to keep an area warm for a short period of time, they're a fantastic tool.
When it comes to space heaters, just be safe. Don't put blankets over them, around them, near them. If you have a Christmas tree and you have a live like a real Christmas tree, man, keep a space heater away from them. I mean, they dry out quick. Keep a space heater away from them. And speaking of Christmas trees, if you have one, especially real ones, unplug them. Turn the lights off when you're not around. It's crazy. Even your outdoor lights. I finally got mine hung. It's awesome. I'm pretty happy about it. But even your outdoor lights, even if they're LEDs, just unplug them. Turn them off during the day. Because and if you completely unplug them, then they're not drawing energy. That phantom draw isn't getting you.
Yeah, and if you're wanting to hear more about the lights in particular, listen to last week's episode, because we had some great information there about lights. But what Josh is talking about with the phantom power, for instance, that little red light that's on a charger.
Yep.
Or for instance, in my home, I've actually got one that has a blue and a green.
Right.
And they're constantly drawing just a little bit of power.
That's right.
Well, that phantom power, it's not like a water hose.
Right.
It's not where if you turn it on but you seal it off, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
I mean, it's still being lost.
It's coming.
And
it's
so what ends up happening is much of your energy use that you're like, where did I lose all this energy? It's because you don't ever unplug anything.
Yep. Get those power strips. We've talked about it before. Get a power strip, plug everything in there, and kick that thing off.
It's super simple to do. Now, one other thing that's also a great way to do it, and something that does draw phantom power, is some of your small appliances that you use in cooking. And sometimes those are great tools to use instead of firing up your oven to try to cook 2 pieces of bread or something like that, or say for instance you need to warm something up. A microwave is more efficient than firing up an entire oven. However, those small appliances, while they use less power, unplug them, because again the phantom draw will happen to them.
That's right. And I think I mentioned it a while back. We do that with our toaster, and it bugs me when I put toast in. I'm like, and then I realize that it's unplugged. However, not losing some energy, so I can plug it in. I'll be upset, but I'm not getting a phantom draw.
Well, and being efficient in your cooking. One, make a plan when you cook. For instance, we were cooking actually for Thanksgiving at my house, our Hallow Thanksmas, and so we actually combined.
You just don't give them their seasons, man.
We decided to roll them all together with my friends, and so we had Halloween costumes, Thanksgiving food, and Christmas games and music. But we made a plan to do that. So we said, okay, we're going to put this in at this time.
Right.
Then we're going to put this in at this time, and then finally we're going to do this here, because while they cooked at different temperatures, they cooked at different times.
Right.
We were able to actually, as you keep turning it up, if you cook something that needs to be, for instance, ham or something needs to be cooked for a couple hours, at a lower temperature. As you add things into the oven, you can kind of turn that thing up and of course make a plan. So then the oven was only on for maybe an hour and a half, and we cooked 3 casseroles and ham and all this kind of stuff. But we were able to conserve.
Oven was set at 700 degrees.
It was like maybe 400. but yeah, so we were able to actually use the energy that was already in there.
Right.
And another thing that people do is they like to open the oven.
Oh man. That's not good.
That's not
good. It lets all that heat out.
It lets all the heat out. In fact, it can actually lose almost 25 degrees every time you open the oven.
I need to stop doing that.
So, one, it's a real, Stop it.
Well, see, my oven light's burned out, and I'm trying to be efficient and not.
Well, get an LED.
I know it's not working.
Bulb in there, and then you won't be wasting energy on it. But yeah, so you could actually lose up to 25 degrees on it. Same thing with leaving your refrigerator open while you're cooking,
right,
or pulling things in and out.
Right. Yep.
It loses temperature extremely fast, and now it has to make it up.
Right. Yeah. It's there are so many things, so many little things during the holidays that you can do, just to try and save money. If you're going to start your dishwasher, wait till it's full. Don't run a half full load. Wait till it's full. Yeah, it's going to stink because you're like, I just want an empty dishwasher. Just wait. It's fine. It'll be there tomorrow. Yep. It will. Just little things like that. We've talked a little bit about some safety stuff. With the space heaters around trees and stuff. This is the holidays are time for people who like their houses to smell good. And if you're not cooking, you're lighting candles. Blow them out.
Whenever, especially when you're leaving rooms or when there's kids involved, make sure your candles are above where they can reach or crawl to or climb to.
That's right.
Be sure to knock those out, or pets, those types of things. But
don't knock the pets out.
Don't knock the pets out, but not blow those candles out. Keep them from messing up there. But the other thing also is when you're cooking and stuff. Of course, you've got this oven running, you got the appliances running.
That's
right. Be aware of where everyone's at.
Absolutely. And watch stuff. My kids will inevitably, they'll dry their hands off and throw the towel on the counter or something because it's too hard to literally hang it over the oven door rod. But I get it, whatever.
Yep.
But sometimes it'll land on the stove and then they'll walk away and I'm like, what do you do? Children.
Well, and speaking of that, we would be remiss if we didn't say be sure to check your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and also your ground current, your GFCIs and your AFCIs, those arc fault circuit interrupters and ground fault circuit interrupters, excuse me. But yeah, be sure to check those because again, you're going to be lighting stuff, you're going to be running appliances, you're going to be cooking and all these different types of things. What you don't want to have is a fire or something start off because you've overloaded, a circuit or anything like that, and that's just not going to be good for anybody.
Well, we talked about it last week with lights too. Don't Clark Griswold things. It is don't do it. Just because you have 264 surge protectors plugged into one doesn't make it any better. Don't daisy chain that stuff.
Not a smart choice.
No, not even a little bit. But the bottom line is use a little common sense. If you have to ask yourself, is this safe?
Be safe and try plugging in a different circuit.
That's right.
It'll be all good. But speaking of plugging into different circuits, we're out of time. So next week,
next week is going to be good, man. Next week, I'm really excited about. We are looking to, we're closed on Christmas and we're closed on New Year's, but that doesn't mean that operations here stop. With Santa making his way through the across the globe, we got some folks here that are keeping an eye out, watching things, making sure the lights are on, and day after Christmas, we're gonna have some folks in here taking some phone calls. So we're gonna talk to hopefully we're gonna talk to ops. We're gonna see if we can get them in here, but we're definitely gonna be talking to somebody in the contact center
for sure,
and really just to kind of understand what it is that they do during the holidays and how their job is affected and stuff like that. So, definitely tune in next week. It's going to be a good show. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully we'll get some ops in here, but we'll get somebody from contact center and it'll be good.
It'll be fantastic. We're looking forward to it. And again, if you've got any questions for us, you can always reach out to us at 877-777-9020 to talk to one of our member support specialists about any concerns that you have. And don't forget to sign up for Sharing Change at sharingchange.org.
Right. And check out our old podcast, except for episode 2. Don't worry, next week we won't be, I won't be in.
I will be in another sweater.
He will be in an ugly sweater. Well, I'm sure it's probably just a nice sweater, but it'll be ugly.
We're going to call it an ugly sweater. We'll call it an interesting sweater. How about that?
It's festive.
We won't offend anybody.
That's right.
Try not to.
That's right.
But thanks again for listening, and tune in next
week.
We'll
see you next week. unMetered is brought to you by Middle Tennessee Electric.